back to the channel, everybody. It's been about 3 weeks since my last upload. I've kind of been running into some little problems here and there. I got the head back. I don't know if I have any contents of that yet, but I'll get some today. So I got the head back from the head shop. Marty did a fantastic job. I could not say more about the work that he did. It's honestly amazing. There was a slight issue with 2 of the turbo head studs. It looks like he actually managed to like shave the inverted Torx bits on the studs to tighten them down, and now they're not in torque. So no big deal. I'm just gonna pinch nut them and then use the pinch nut to tighten down the studs. Not a big deal. As long as I can fit the turbo nuts on them, I ain't even worried about it. But, so I got the head back. Then he had to shave 15 thousandths of an inch off. And doing some research and this and that, it just didn't look like the OEM head gasket was gonna work with how much he shaved off. So I actually had to order a thicker head gasket through FCP, and that took 4 days to get here. So it's just been a process of waiting for the head shop to get back to me, waiting for the head gasket to get here. But I've got the head in the trunk, I got the new gasket in, I'm cleaning up the surface of the block right now. Eddie's gonna come through with a straight edge, and then we're going to drop the head on, tighten it down, put some assembly lube on the cams and the cam ledges, get those dropped in, make sure those are set at top dead center, and then tighten those down. That way we don't have any valve interference. Then put the timing tool on, torque the cam gears down, and then, yeah, then we'll slap on the top end, put the valve cover back on, then we'll slap the turbos on, put all the turbo and coolant, or the oil and coolant feed lines on for the turbos, and we'll see how much more progress we make. Honestly, as long as there's nothing like going terribly wrong, this should be a very smooth, very quick process. And hopefully by tomorrow, we should be able to put the trans back onto the engine and maybe even drop it in, hook up the harnesses, maybe get it started. I'm not positive, and I don't want to rush this because I want to make sure it's done right. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump right into where I'm at right now. All right, so here's the head. The cam ledges are not tightened down, so there's no valves actually being pushed through, so I can lay the head flat. Here's the 2 studs I was talking about. There's one here that, let me see if I can zoom in on that. It doesn't have, like, that one has that inverted Torx, or Torx, whatever, but that one doesn't. Same thing with this one here. And see, that one's already trying to spin out. This one I've already, yeah, you can tell that, see, it's not torqued down, so I got to go back through, torque those. I don't see any problem with the thread lining up. From what I can tell, they're fine. Honestly, he may not even have taken anything off. Those might actually be like that. I have no idea. Nonetheless, Marty did a great job on the head. I could not say more. If you guys are in the Idaho area and need some head work done, Marty's the guy to go to. He got this done in about I'd say a week and a half. He also had to wait for me to get the new valve seals, but he took about a week and a half. Price was under 500 bucks for everything, the shaving, the hot tanking, and everything else like that. And yeah, honestly, couldn't be more happy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually take the cam ledges off, open them up, put some assembly lube on the cams and the cam ledges, take the head itself, put it on, and then we're gonna drop the cams and cam ledges back on once the head's already torqued down, like I said, so the valves aren't decompressing onto the pistons. So yeah, this is where the head's at, and hopefully I don't see any issues with the head now that Marty's got it all shaved. So we will be slapping this thing on within the next half an hour to an hour, hopefully. So here I have the thicker head gasket. And if you notice, there's all these little rivets along the head gasket. Well, all these along the exhaust side actually overhang off the block. And then there's one here on the intake side. There's another one here on the intake side. And there's one down here on the intake side. So every rivet had like a little dimple on the block side to where these lay flush, but this one didn't. So I actually took the time and I drilled that rivet out, so that way this will actually lay flush on the block. The next step I have to do is to take yeah, like I said, I have to take a straight edge to that thing, so I'm just waiting on Eddie to get here, and then once he gets here, we'll check that. We'll take the head apart, slap it on, put it back together, and then slap the whole top end back together. All right, so the head is on. The head bolts are cinched down. I went through the tightening procedure just to cinch them down. I have not started the actual torque process yet, but the head is on, the head gasket's on, everything's cleaned up. So I'm gonna torque this down, get the cams on, get the cam ledges lubed up with some assembly lube, get those tightened down, make sure the timing's set when I tighten them down, because we're set at TDC. I don't want any valve interference. Then next, I will put the cam gears back on, hopefully get all the tensioner shit tightened down, and then yeah, and then we got the valve cover. So this is where we're at. Eddie had to leave, so he just kind of came through, dropped that off for me. So I'm still hoping to get everything installed up to the turbos by tonight, but we'll see. All right, so the head is on, torque to spec. What I did was I took the cams and the cam ledges off, put the head on, torqued it down to spec, and then I torqued the cams down. I had the timing tool holding it in place, so don't freak out about that. I just had to take it off to torque these 5 bolts down to spec for the cams. But the cams are set at intake is at 5 p.m. or 7 p.m. Exhaust is at 5 p.m. Yeah, so we should be set to put the cam gears on, put the timing chain on, and then once that's set, tighten everything here with the tensioners, and then throw the valve cover back. All right, I didn't get a lot of content of me putting the head on, but head's on, cam ledges are set, everything's torqued down. I've got the cam gears in. I set the tensioner tool to like 0.6 pneumatic pounds to tension the timing chain, and then I tightened the cam gears to 20 pneumatic pounds and 180 degrees, I believe. So that's all set. I've given the engine a full crank. It doesn't stop. There's no valve interference. I can see each valve lifting as I turn it. So I think the timing's set. I'm hoping the timing's set. I don't see why not. I gave it a full crank. Oh, I guess you can't see it, but the cam lobes were at the 7 and 5 p.m. position. Yeah, 7 and 5. So I do believe that I got the timing set correctly. So everything on the head is done. The valve cover's on. Tomorrow, I'm going to put the oil filter housing thing on that's over there, and then the turbos, the turbo lines, which I've cleaned up, they've got new O-rings. I got to put the spark plugs in, the injectors in, I got to put the main coolant line back on, and then it's just wires and harnesses, and then the tranny, and then the torque converter, and then dropping it in the engine bay. So yeah, we're making some progress. I personally, hold up, there we go. I personally couldn't be happier with the turnout of today. I mean, yeah, I didn't get as far as I wanted to, but quite frankly, I feel completely secure about this head. I know it's torqued down properly. I know the timing's set properly. If something fucks up, it's in the fucking engine. It wasn't me. So I'm hoping everything's solid there, and then hopefully within the next couple days we can hear this bitch run. So I'm getting the fuck out of here. It's like 10 o'clock at night. It's a fucking late night. So we'll catch y'all tomorrow.